Hello and welcome to Tech Open Air 2014. I'm Courtney Boyd-Myers and I'm here today interviewing Will Griggs, the co-founder of Cantora. Will, welcome to Berlin. How does it feel to be here?
Thank you, Courtney. I'm so happy to be in Berlin.
And is this your first time at Tech Open Air?
This is my first time at Tech Open Air and my second time in Berlin. I haven't been here for 10 years. I turned 18 in Berlin. I was here for like 2 days, so I'm happy that I have like a week to really explore and try and get the pulse of the city this time.
And what do you think of the conference so far?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful day. This building is insane. There are lots of nooks and crannies to explore, which seems to be symbolic of the whole city, you know, in a way.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about the conference is it's like the intersection of art, tech, music design, which is all you and all Cantora. Can you just tell us a little bit about, you know, what Cantora is and what you guys are working on?
Yeah, no, I feel right at home here. Cantora, we started as a record label when we were all, you know, college kids to put out a band called MGMT's first CD, what feels like the Stone Age, back in 2005. And over time, you know, we started essentially signing tech startups the same way that we were signing bands, you know, finding really talented people very early, building relationships with them and helping to give them the resources and helping to build a network for them so they could turn their ideas into businesses. And increasingly, we've been taking the lessons that we've learned as angel investors and applying it to live events. We've always been very passionate about throwing parties and throwing concerts as a way not only to extend our brand, but to collaborate and work with all kinds of different entities. And we're having a lot of fun with trying to find ways to take these immersive and interactive tech tools and bringing them into live entertainment to try and create new experiences for fans.
And what are a couple of these tools that we should be aware of that are happening now? And maybe also, what do you want to be doing in 5 years' time?
Sure. Okay. Well, you know, one of the companies that's in our portfolio is called Sonic Notify. And we have always looked for opportunities to invest in companies that don't live and die in the music industry or the entertainment industry. So I think Sonic is a really great example of a company. They built this SDK, it's a little line of code you can put into any app that unlocks content on your phone through inaudible sound waves. And we started really trying to figure out ways that we could bring that technology into concerts. And we started building apps for parties we were throwing and telling people that the app was their ticket to the show and having all kinds of crazy activations at the show. But it wasn't, you know, something that really drew you outside of the concert, but, you know, it told you who was on stage at that exact moment. You could add their music to your Spotify account. You know, we gave away prizes, you know, we gave away headphones. There were all kinds of fun things that we were doing on this app, building all kinds of very valuable data through something that we'd been doing for years, which is throwing concerts. And then we took that data and brought it to the fashion world and to retail and to sports. And now they're focused, you know, on bringing it to big box retailers and broadcast television. But we were able to create a spark in our comfort zone, which is whatever you want to call it, like skinny jeans downtown, New York City music scene.
Brooklyn Bowl.
Yeah.
And so is this a company that you invested in and then incubated and you've helped them form all of these business relationships?
Yeah, we are investors. I don't know if I would say incubate just because we've never housed any of these companies within our office. Okay. Though we are lucky to share office space with a bunch of friends in New York and Soho. But, you know, we were the first outside investors in this company, and it's, you know, the parallels between the way we're working with tech startups and the way that we have always worked with bands, you know, we never had the most money or the most clout. We've just been able to luckily sort of get talented people caught in our web at an early stage in their stories and build trust and be able to help add value in whatever ways that we can.
And what are examples of, you know, maybe what bands could learn from tech startups and what tech startups could learn from bands?
I think that, you know, one thing that is like obviously like either a challenge or an opportunity for whether it's a band or a startup is just communication and the way that you can really build a team, you know, and culture, you know, like I've worked with bands that have had really toxic energy within those bands. And I feel like if you have, you know, people who have their goals are aligned and they have the same attitude and are open about how they want to work together, I feel like that's something that's crucially important on both sides. And it's also both industries, both entities, a startup and a band, we've seen so many brilliant people on both sides, musicians and, whether they're founders or they're CTOs, engineers, MBAs, whatever, brilliant people who suddenly realize that they have to work their ass off.
Yeah.
So hard to get from here to here to here and build something. And that's something that we try and, help in any way we can to sort of set expectations and set goals and set timelines so that, they realize that being talented isn't enough. It takes an incredible amount of hard work and a lot of sort of things to break your way to get people to really care about what you're working on.
And then you just have to make it look easy.
And then just make it look
and look
easy.
Really cool. And so you guys are in New York and LA mostly?
Yeah, we're mostly, we're headquartered in New York, but we've always, both of my partners and co-founders are from LA, so
okay.
People just assume that I'm from LA too.
Yeah, well, you got that kind of laid back vibe going on, but
sure.
Definitely.
That's just the Berlin vibe. It's just taking over.
I mean, this seems like it would be such a perfect city to have a European outpost.
Oh, sure.
And so tell me a little bit about what you think about Berlin as this kind of music and tech ecosystem right now.
I think that you're right. I think this would be a great place because, in New York, a big struggle, whether it's with people who are building or who are founding companies and building them in their free time, or artists that are trying to make a living and give themselves the sort of emotional and creative headspace to create their art. In New York City, it's tough, you know, because rents are high, and it seems like the cycle of neighborhoods that are sort of populated by artists and taken over by the next wave, and it gets more and more expensive, and in a way, their presence is working against them wherever they are. In terms of having the ability to really focus and work and have an opportunity to really, build their art or build their businesses, it seems like Berlin has a little bit of, it seems like a nice blend of a relaxed atmosphere where it's when you meet someone, the first thing they ask you is not what do you do?
Yeah.
Which in New York, that's just sort of a tradition.
Before you even get asked your name.
Yeah, it's what do you do? And here it seems like the pace, of living is a little bit more relaxed, but there are still, it seems like there's a little bit more elbow room, but there's still so many driven people and so many amazing companies, I was able to swing by the SoundCloud office earlier this week and see the factory space where they're bringing in, all of these tech companies to have this campus in Midtown, which is just unbelievable. It's obvious that the city is very supportive of these creative industries as well, and in ways that in America we're sort of left to fend for ourselves. So the one tricky thing is that I haven't necessarily seen much of a music scene that involves guitars.
Oh,
it's a lot of electronic music, which is not to say that we don't enjoy electronic music, but it is not, what we're defined by, or what most people anticipate our releases would be. And though we are working with tech startups and, building live entertainment properties, we still put out records, and we'll see. We have Bare Hands coming here in a month.
Will, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Courtney.
We're at Tech Open Air 2014, and you can follow along with the hashtag TOA14.